When I say TikTok, the only thing that used to come to mind was a clock. Not any longer. Now it's the name of the world's hottest social media platform, TikTok. And if you want to use it to grow your business, then there's no better person to show us how than donut aficionado Phillip Ku, whose bakery has one of the biggest TikTok followings of any business in Australia. It's a head-scratching episode 587 of the 12-year-old award-winning Small Business Big Marketing podcast.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back to your weekly dose of bright, shiny objects. I'm your host, Timbo Reid, and I have an insatiable curiosity for uncovering marketing strategies and ideas that help businesses just like yours to grow. How do I do that? Great question. By having in-depth conversations with successful business founders from around this crazy world. It's getting crazier by the minute, wouldn't you say? You, infinitely more importantly, are a motivated business owner ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. And that's exactly why this show exists. As per usual, team, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in. I've got 4 thank yous just for you. Thank you for the great feedback on the Dan Norris episode, which was episode 585. Incredible story of a fellow who's created a craft beer label that's gone absolutely bananas, valued at $65 million after like 6 years. And it's just a great story of growth. Hey, and thanks to all of you who have signed up to be the first to know about upcoming marketing problem-solving webinars that I will be holding. Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com if you want to get a bit of that. You get a free ebook called My 10 Marketing Wake-Up Calls. Thanks to my 1900 Facebook tribe members. Love you, talking about marketing. And thank you to everyone who's left a voicemail, 0480 015 150. As you know, if you ever get past the interview in this podcast, I always play a message from a listener who shares a marketing conundrum or a marketing success story. Righto, let's go and find out how this TikTok thing works. Righto, today's super inspiring business founder first appeared on the show about 250 episodes ago. His name's Phillip Ku. His business is called Goldilocks, and he makes donuts. Lots and lots and lots of donuts. Some which appear to be shaped as penises and breasts. A little bit more on that later. But back then, Phil was studying marketing at uni and was forced to take over the bakery when his dad fell ill. And for the first year, he continued studying full-time whilst running the family business full-time. In fact, Phil was so dedicated that he slept at the bakery every night for an entire year. Now, that sounds hard work, but you got to remember he was surrounded by donuts, so that's got to be a good thing. I reckon I'd sleep at a bakery if I was surrounded by donuts. Now, back then, Goldilocks was a Melbourne-based bakery with 2 stores, a pop-up in Melbourne Central, and they just signed their first franchisee. Fast forward to today, Goldilocks has repositioned itself as a dessert gifting company, has 3 stores, a large warehouse, and a thriving e-commerce business thanks to some very smart marketing on TikTok. In fact, 1 year in on TikTok, and Goldilocks has one of the largest followings of any Australian business on that social media platform with over 780,000 followers and 20 million likes. That's nuts. So, if you're keen to add another communications channel to your marketing mix, then lean in, as Phil provides us with a masterclass on using TikTok for business. In fact, TikTok used Phil to have him present to other businesses. He's the man. We're going to talk about how to use it, what content works best, and super importantly, how to convert likes and followers into sales. Phil, welcome back.
Hello, Tim. Good to be back.
Oh, it's great to have you, mate. Now, let's get the important stuff out of the way first. What's with the penis and breast-shaped donuts?
Well, people like to always ask me, what's your claim to fame? And Unfortunately, it's penis donuts and boob donuts, and it's the thing that's made us popular.
Isn't that incredible? I don't want to hang on this topic for too long because we've got TikTok to discuss, but I am interested in product development. How does that work? Does someone just yell out from behind the bakery, hey, boss, I reckon we should do like donuts shaped in body parts. Does that work?
That's literally how it happens. And you know what? We always do call-outs on TikTok and social media as well. And it's always the parents who come up with these dirty ideas. So,
well, we're just living vicariously through our children. Now, buddy, this is a great story. I'm really, really keen to learn about TikTok because as a 54-year-old bloke, I ain't on TikTok. However, many people are, and you're benefiting hugely. But I just want to understand first, you had a great little business last time we spoke. It was growing. I knew it was going to do things. It has. How did COVID impact Goldilocks Bakery?
Well, a lot has changed since COVID. I mean, you're in a fancy studio now, and a lot has definitely changed for us as well. But I think when COVID first happened, it was a really scary, scary time because, all of us didn't know what a lockdown meant, and none of us knew what COVID was back then. And so, before COVID, just to paint the picture a bit, we had these grand plans of opening more retail shops and everything like that. But then, when COVID happened, when I heard that shops had to close down, I was super stressed out because there was no way that we would have been able to survive COVID if we had to shut down our stores. We just didn't have the cash flow for that. But as it turns out, the year before that, we actually set up a online store and we started delivering gifts. And that was never a big part of the business. It was literally 2% of our sales. It was such a small part. But because we had that infrastructure set up, when COVID happened, it was actually our saving grace.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? You didn't know that was the reason you were setting up that a year out of COVID was because of COVID. Incredible. What actually made you set up the online store? Were you wanting to sort of spread the wings of Goldilocks nationally?
Yeah, I think I've always had a grand plan of trying to grow the business as much as I can. I'm just such an ambitious person. So I think I wanted to find a way where I could reach customers as fast as I could in the easiest way possible. And the way I could do that was doing delivery throughout all of Melbourne, which was what we did at the time. And the other side was after we finished our pop-up store and signed that lease with the franchisee, I had to go back to the bakery to work, which means early start. So I was I do not want to do that again. I'm just over that. I need to do something where I can not be there in the early morning. So I decided to do the gift boxes, and I used to drive from Croydon every morning, 40 minutes to the city because that was the only place where the couriers would pick the boxes up. Sometimes we get one box, sometimes we get two boxes, sometimes if we're lucky we got 5 boxes. But regardless, I had to drive, almost an hour and a half trip back and forth for a whole year. And so, when COVID happened, literally it skyrocketed up and it hasn't stopped since then.
Was there literally a moment in time, Phil, when that sort of that hockey stick inflection of sales took off, or was it over a week, or was it literally
I can pinpoint you the exact moment. It was literally the moment when Dan Andrews announced there was a lockdown in Melbourne, the first lockdown. And from that moment, as soon as I knew what lockdown meant and what it looked like for us, I was like, okay, let's quadruple our ad spend right now because I know that people are going to be needing, gifts still in lockdown. So as soon as that announcement happened, our sales skyrocketed up and up and up. And it's been a wild ride.
That's awesome, mate. Just tell me a little bit about that. You said you're a very ambitious person. You're clearly a very insightful person too, because running a little bakery in the outer suburbs of Melbourne, with respect, I mean little, but also very popular with 3 stores. First of all, to have that thought around, hey, let's have an e-commerce arm attached to it. I'm not sure that many bakeries have actually thought like that. To reposition yourself as an online, a dessert gifting company, that's interesting in itself. The minute COVID hits and Dan Andrews, Premier of Victoria, says we're going into lockdown, you immediately have that thought, we're going to quadruple our ad spend. Is this how you operate as an entrepreneur? Are you constantly are you just ready to pull the trigger on something?
Yeah, I think as a business owner, you have to think about every scenario. And so before the lockdown announcement happened, I actually had all the different scenarios played out in my head.
Wow.
And I looked overseas as well because that time we didn't have any news. Only news about lockdown was in China. And so I remember that time I was looking into, okay, what happened in China? What did their lockdown mean? And I think at the same time, New Zealand was going through lockdown as well. And so I think in New Zealand, bakeries were still open. So I knew, okay, if lockdowns happen, then at least the bakery will still be open. Maybe we can deliver essential baked goods and deliver bread and pies and everything like that. But I think just to go back to your question, I think I've always been just an ambitious person because, I don't know, I think like I entered into this industry like naively. I didn't know anything about business. I did about bakery. So I think having that fresh pair of eyes and having that naiveness, I guess, like indirectly made me more confident and brave in my decisions.
It fascinates me, that psychology of a business owner, because, and I've spoken to it a number of times to different business owners, where this naivety that you have when you go into business. Now, you're a young bloke. You went into business at the age of 21, were you, when you took over Goldilocks?
Yeah, 21, 22, yeah.
You're now 28,
turning 29 this year.
Okay. So you've had plenty of time to lose that naivety. What interests me is, I don't think you have, you could have. How do you maintain it so that you don't get tired of, or sucked into the usual ways of doing business?
I think it all comes down to passion. Like, I think I'm very passionate about growing the business. I wouldn't say I'm passionate about donuts specifically, but I'm very passionate about the business side of things. And I think especially seeing it grow from the local bakery it is now to this massive warehouse that we have now. I think watching that grow and nurturing that and just made me so passionate about it. So I think that's why I've never lost that naiveness and that confidence and that drive to grow the business.
If you need someone to contribute passion around donuts, you have my number. Just give me a hoy. But gee, that's interesting. You're not passionate about donuts specifically. And again, I hear this from other business owners. So for you, is the thrill of the chase simply around growing a business? Could you see yourself literally going, at some point, Goldilocks is under control, I'm going to put in a general manager of some sort, and I'm going to go off and create another business in a completely different industry?
That's such an interesting question, because I think like the passion for the business is there, but I think to be passionate, you also have to be passionate about, I guess, like what you're doing overall as well. So for me, that is, I think I've always worked in the service and hospitality business since I was a teenager. So I really do get a bit of joy seeing customers happy with the product and seeing them happy with the stuff that I've created and the products that I'm selling as well.
So that for you is the magic. So yeah, like you could enter any industry and it's all about the customer. And from experience, having interviewed 850 plus something successful. Is it 800? I've lost count. Is it 600? What is
Well,
it?
it's been 250 since you last spoke to me.
But they do. They have an ability to cross-pollinate into other categories and industries, and focusing on the customer is everything. We interviewed Jeff Bezos' shadow a few months ago, and he'd just written a book called Working Backwards, and it was working backwards from the customer. That's what they do at Amazon. So any business that does that wins. Phil, I am so keen to get onto this TikTok discussion. In order to do that, could you just be as open as you can and tell us, as a result of adding e-commerce to the business model and to becoming a total rock star on TikTok, where's the business at today? Just wrap some numbers around it.
Yeah, without going to very specific details and exposing all of our business secrets, it's definitely like our business has become a multi-million dollar business, which is incredible. Thank you. It's something I would have never imagined when I first started the bakery. So I feel very grateful and appreciative, but I definitely know that I've put a lot of hard work into it, and so has my team. So we're very grateful for where we are now.
That is extraordinary. I'm going to push you a little bit more. Tell me about staff. Tell me about turnover. Tell me about SKUs. Tell me about just give us a sense of scale, because what's interesting. There's a lot of interesting things about you, Phil, and about the way Goldilocks is going about business, but at the end of the day, you're just a little suburban bakery. And I think this is awesome what you've done. A multi-million-dollar business. It's brilliant. Wrap some numbers. Give us a couple of numbers.
Sure.
Go on, get us excited.
Yeah, so we employ about 30 people across all of our stores and warehouses. So keep this in mind. Before we even started TikTok or anything like that, we were all packing everything from our little bakery, suburban bakery. So just to give you a sense of where we are in terms of growth at the moment, during the height of lockdown, we delivered a gift box somewhere in Australia every 51 seconds.
That is brilliant.
Yeah. And so, we started off as doing Melbourne delivery only first, but we expanded to delivering nationally as well. So we're due to move into our Melbourne warehouse in the next week or so. So that's very soon. But we're already looking into expanding into having a warehouse into Sydney as well. So that's kind of where we're at the moment.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible. So you've got, okay, let's talk TikTok. You've got 786,000 followers as of today. You've got 20 million likes, and it's going bananas for you. And I've had a really good look at the way you're using TikTok. In fact, I gave myself a masterclass on it yesterday because it's like, okay, I've got to learn. It's a shiny, bright new object. It's here to stay. It's actually been here since 2016, finally. I didn't realise that, but it sort of kicked off in about 2018 properly. Can you just, for the sake of all my listeners of varying ages, Phil, talk slowly. What is TikTok and how's it work?
Okay, so Tim, I'm happy to give you this masterclass because you've helped me a lot over the years. So
thank you.
This is my gift back to you.
You are a gentleman.
So TikTok is basically a video sharing platform, but the difference between that and YouTube is that it's short form. So videos tend to be anywhere from like 3 seconds to 3 minutes. And so I think what's different about TikTok and other platforms is that you literally only have a few seconds to get people's attention. And with that in the back of your mind, it actually opens up a lot of other areas of video content creation and ways that you can promote your business. So for us, it was,
Before you go on how you're using it, just again to be clear with TikTok, video sharing platform. It would appear that you can either do 15, 60, or 3 minute. What's that? 180-second videos. You can add a whole bunch of effects and sound soundtracks and get all funky and groovy and all that kind of stuff. And then you've got 2 feeds, it would appear, and you're flicking up to one feed is the people you are following, and then the other feed is just a timeline of like videos that are being uploaded to TikTok, probably at one every 0.0001 of a second somewhere in the world. So it's pretty insane.
It is, and it's all driven by an algorithm. So.
Of course. Yep. So it gets a sense of what you like, what you're commenting on, what you're sharing. It kind of probably gives you more of that, as do all social media platforms. What appealed to you specifically, Phil, with Goldilocks? Like, why TikTok? You could have gone. What are the other alternatives? Insta Reels, Facebook.
It's Reels. We don't call it Insta Reels, Tim. It's Reels. Just Reels.
Phil, if I want to show my age up, I'll do that. Thank you. Okay, so why TikTok?
I actually thought about this morning, and I think, when we first started the business, we started on Facebook first, and we were like a Facebook bakery. And then when Instagram got really big, we became an Instagram bakery. And then when TikTok started to pick up steam, it was just an obvious choice that we had to be on TikTok.
Right.
And so I think when I first started using TikTok, I actually did not know what it was. Like I think I was the typical millennial at the start of 2020. I was like, what is TikTok? Like, all the kids are just dancing on here. Like, I saw my cousins dancing on it, my little cousins dancing on it. I'm like, what is this app? So I downloaded it over under summer break, and I just started scrolling. And then I literally spent 3 weeks just scrolling like on TikTok, and I just couldn't stop.
Yeah, right.
And my partner was like to me, like, get off this app. Like, what are you doing on this app? And I'm like, I'm doing market research. I'm researching. But I was actually just watching videos and just trying to understand the app.
Yeah.
But I think after 3 weeks of heavy use, I really saw the potential to grow on TikTok, because I think what's special about TikTok is that, unlike Instagram, Instagram and Facebook is more pay to play now. So like, you got to pay to be shown on the feed now. I think what's special about TikTok is that any brand, anyone of any size can get started on TikTok and have the chance to go viral, which is what makes the For You page on TikTok so special compared to Reels and Instagram, which is why I don't think Instagram could ever replicate what TikTok has done. And so when we started last year, we obviously had a very limited marketing budget, and having that organic traffic and viewership without having to pay a cent was just incredible. So I posted the first video and it just skyrocketed. I'm like, okay, well, this is good. And then from that...
What do you mean? What was that first video, and what do you define as skyrocketed?
So I think the first video was literally a trending sound on TikTok. It was something stupid like, I think it was a Karen voiceover of like someone saying, I'd like to speak to the manager. Like, what is this? Blah, blah, blah. And it was just a video of us making one of our donut gift packs. And I literally just filmed it on my phone. Like, it took like less than a minute, and I just cut and pasted the video and put the sound on. And I think it got 300 or 400,000 views from that first video. And we had like 0 followers as well.
What?
And so, yeah.
See, I don't understand that. I do not understand that. How? Do you know how? Was it that good a piece of 15-second video that 300,000 people just had to see it? Or
I think to go back, like I mentioned that TikTok is driven by an algorithm. So
yes,
you have to understand how the algorithm works. So I guess I mentioned that TikTok, you have to really get people's attention in the first 3 seconds. So when I made that video, I did have a bit of a strategy. I knew that it was driven by algorithm. So I was like, okay, the first 3 seconds, I really have to just get people's attention. So I put that trending sound because it was just so outrageous of someone like saying, I want to speak to the manager. And that's, if you heard that sound, you would stop and watch. And then that combined with our amazing gift packs and drool-worthy gift packs, that combined together just created the perfect recipe for that.
I don't want. Let's touch on the fact that you sell donuts and it's visually interesting. You sell donuts of all shapes and sizes, as we have covered. I don't want listeners. I want listeners to stay engaged if they're accountants or chiropractors or builders. TikTok is ideal for a business like yours. Social media is ideal for a business like yours because of the visual nature of it. Is what you're going to go on to explain on how to use TikTok relevant to all types of businesses? If you ran an accounting firm, sorry to all your accountants, obviously I'm assuming it's boring business. It's probably not. It's very important business. Could you make TikTok work?
You could 100% make TikTok work for your business, no matter what industry you're in. So I actually saw my accountant not too long ago, and I was telling him he could just jump on TikTok and give some accounting advice, and that could generate some leads for him. And, you literally could talk about anything on TikTok. So
I get that, but to me it feels like, and again, I might be wrong here, showing my age, but do you know what the average demographic is of a TikTok user?
Yeah.
And is an accountant, I just would have thought it's going to skew very young, and that an accountant sharing advice is going to quickly fade into the background.
Yeah, you're right. It is at the moment very young. I think a lot of the users are under the age of 29, but there is a very fast growing demographic of older generation as well. Our demographic is 18 to 44. So
what, 54-year-old blokes don't eat donuts?
I think maybe you might be, I don't know, worried about your health. I don't know.
Yeah, got it. I got it.
Although it is a young demographic, there is a very fast growing other side of demographic of older, people getting onto TikTok.
It seems to happen with social media, Phil, doesn't it? Where the kids discover it, and then I saw this with Snapchat with my kids back in the day, where all of a sudden, the older, maybe not parents, but certainly older people were getting on to Snapchat. So the kids leave it behind. So we've seen it with Facebook, Insta, now TikTok's the one. And again, the age brackets creep up, and there'll be something new.
100%. And I think just anecdotally, when I first started using TikTok, I did see a lot of younger people on TikTok. But now that this is my second year using TikTok now, and I've seen the sort of people who made the videos on TikTok change as well. They're getting, there's a lot of older people showing up and creating videos now. So, yeah.
Okay, so that was your first video. What type of content are you creating? I imagine there's various types of content, and then what content is working best for Goldilocks?
Yep. So I think the really important thing to note about TikTok, especially if you're a brand working on TikTok, is that the goal on TikTok isn't to sell. That's what paid ads are for. So for us, when I look at TikTok, I think of it as a way to engage my customers and potential customers. So for me, it's all about introducing the brand and talking about our products in a way where it doesn't come off as selly. Because I think, I think we've 15 years of social media or something like that. So people are just sick of being sold to all the time. So when you don't sell to them, it's actually quite refreshing and it's quite different, and they actually want to tune in. So for us, the content for us is literally just us packing customers' orders and sharing the funny messages that customers write in the orders. We get their permission, of course.
Yeah.
And then the other side of that we do is that we talk about the business as well. So we answer a lot of questions that people might have about the business, about the product. And then we also do like a weekly wrap up as well. So we just do like a vlog sort of style, like 15 seconds, 20 seconds of like what's happened in the business. And so I think people feel very engaged, especially last year. We had such a massive growth last year. So people have literally watched us grow in the last year. So
Yeah,
I think
they've come along for the ride.
that's right. And I think you kind of like make your business into a reality show in some sort of way. So people want to tune in and watch and see what happens next.
Well, yeah, I suppose you develop characters. You and I love the fact that you've put your face to the name. I think it's great when businesses do that. And I don't know why more don't, particularly service-based businesses, which I've talked a lot about before. You're a product-based business and doesn't mean you can't put your face to a name. I think it's great,
Yeah.
Frank Walker from Bargain Tiles, and all, Jerry Harvey from Harvey Norman. Why not? It just works,
I think it is coming from the culture of Instagram. I think when people were doing Instagram, it had to be very polished, and people back then didn't really want to get to know the people behind the business back then. It's more about the product and creating this polished look. And so for me personally, I never felt comfortable talking about myself or about my family or about the business prior to TikTok. But I think, the TikTok, because every time you make a video and it's algorithm based, more people who don't follow you see the demographic breakdown of people who watch your videos you get more strangers watching your videos than your actual followers because of the organic reach and the algorithm. So I think that that environment creates a way where you can just talk to yourself and not feel like you're being judged by your friends and family in a way because they know so much about you. But it's actually really funny because before I started TikTok, I hated public speaking because I used to have a lisp growing up, and so I was always terrified about public speaking. But for some reason, like as soon as I started doing TikTok, it made me a lot more confident in a way, and actually became a creative outlet for me as well. So I think that's why I really enjoy making TikTok as well, because I get to share that creative side and storytell as well, because I do love telling a lot of stories.
Well, and so important, the whole storytelling thing. On the subject of lisps, Phil, friend of the show, Daniel Flynn, who owns the Thank You Group, has a lisp, and he's out to get the fellow who came up with the word lisp.
Oh, me too. Let me join him on that campaign.
Yes, I can understand that. So what we learnt there, just in terms of types of content that you're creating and that works, first of all, a reminder. Social media is made up of two words, and the first word's social. So you're talking about selling. Selling doesn't work in social environments. You don't go to a party, you don't go to a barbecue, you don't go to a pub and, front someone, hey, buy me, buy this, buy from me. You don't do that. And so you don't do that on social either. Maybe on LinkedIn, maybe where it's a bit more of a business conversation, but you got to apply the old jab, 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 right hook philosophy, don't you, where you've got to give
That's right.
before you ask. But what I heard you say, voyeuristic sort of behind the scenes content works all the time because people like to get in and look behind the curtain and see what's going on. Q&A, I think that's fantastic. I'm all for helpful marketing, and the fact that you've created helpful marketing using TikTok to just simply answer questions of people is awesome because it shows you're real. People buy from people. The weekly wrap, I don't know how you do a weekly wrap in 15 seconds. Give us an example of what does that sound like?
Yeah, so today I literally took a bunch of videos coming into the studio to talk to you today, and I asked your producer if I could just take some videos later just so I can and it's literally just like 2-second snippets and like 3-second snippets, and then I paste them together. Yes. And I do kind of think of a story. I'm like, okay, like what my last vlog was about this. What kind of story do I want to tell today? And I don't try to just say, oh, today I went to the studio and did this, blah, blah, blah. I try to, they're real stories about myself, of course, but
so
I try
you capture the drive to the studio, maybe the entering the studio door, that kind, and build up a story over the course of the 50.
And I might say something like, oh, wow, I can't believe we're in a studio talking to Tim Reid today after listening to so many years. He's helped me grow so much business, like my business over the years. And just create a story, an episode of my own reality TV show.
Would you like to be on a reality TV show?
I'll be terrified. I think I would say things that would get me cancelled.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you got a no filter problem?
With my friends.
Oh, I haven't picked. Feel free to use it here. Hey, we're friends.
All right.
You're a friend of the show.
All right, you asked for it.
My producer Robbie's in the background there. Just
Robbie-
finger on the
Don't edit anything
whatever
out,
the
Romy.
button is.
Leave it unedited.
Absolutely, I'm all for that. Hey, okay, so they're the types of content. What has been the most popular piece of content you've put out on TikTok?
The most popular sort of series that we have at the moment are our order packing. So we literally just pack customer orders, and we've had several videos get like 10+ million views, and and it's
Really?
and it's just literally just us packing customer orders. So there's nothing extra for us to do, and I think that's like when we create content, we actually don't do anything extra. It's literally just us in our natural environment. So
You have had a video. You're telling me you've had a video of packing customer orders that's had 10 million views.
yeah, several.
I just don't. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, that's incredible. Let's talk about effects and hashtags and all that kind of funky stuff that certainly from my point of view puts me off using it, because I couldn't be bothered sitting there and trying to figure out what effect, what sound effect, what visual, like all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about effects, and then I gather the hashtag thing's pretty important too.
Yep. I think what people, when they're first making TikTok, is that they overthink it too much. Like, if you overthink it, it does show in the video and doesn't come naturally. So my piece of advice is, when you're making a TikTok video, just don't overthink it. Just do it. And so when it comes to hashtags, I think it's really important when you first start out, because it's an algorithm-based feed, right? So you have to teach the algorithm what sort of content you're making. So it's really important to, I guess, pick the hashtags that are relevant to your industry. So when I first started, we did...
How do you do that?
So what I did was I went through, I did a bit of hashtag research. So I just searched up some hashtags and see how many views they were getting in those hashtags. And I've kind of tried to pick some really popular ones and some ones that were emerging as well, that were relevant to the business, of course. And so when you put those hashtags in your videos, it tells the algorithm, okay, this is what the video is about. Show my video to these people who watch other videos from these hashtags. So that's what we did when we first started. And then once we've had a solid number of viewers and videos, and the algorithm understands, what kind of content we're serving and who to show it to, that's when we kind of stop using hashtags and then let the algorithm do its thing and just show it to the person who it thinks it's best.
Is there an optimal number of hashtags?
I don't think so. I don't believe so.
Just go for gold.
Go for gold. Add as many as you want. Yeah.
You got 150 characters, haven't you, to say something under your video, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
And optimal length, you get options 15, 60, 180 seconds. I was watching a YouTube video yesterday, a lady from Social Examiner School or whatever that great podcast is. She was talking about start off with 15 seconds. Don't go for gold immediately. Just start off with 15 seconds. And I think from what I heard from you, that first 3 seconds is a critical part of the algorithm, which probably says, the algorithm says, if people hang around for longer than 3 seconds, then clearly there is interest. So you got to kind of big punch up front.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to, you have to understand TikTok is a business as well. So they want to keep people on the app. So if you can help them keep people on the app, they will reward you by showing your video to more people. So if you can get people to watch your video from start to finish, you will be rewarded for that. So if you can keep in mind that in the back of your mind, like, okay, how can I best help TikTok keep people on the app? You will just naturally create a video and where you take out all the boring bits and cuts all the bits that are not as relevant and try to keep it sharp to the point.
Yeah, okay. Just to be clear, on the video, I'm getting into the specifics here, but I think it's important if people are going to use TikTok going forward. You can, let's say you're doing a 15-second video, you open up and you hit record, and you might just want to do 2 seconds, and then you hit stop, do you? And then it saves, and then half an hour down the track, you've arrived at the studio, for example, you want to do another 3 seconds. Is that how it works? And you're just building this?
Yeah, there are multiple ways you can make a video on TikTok. So the first one is the one you mentioned, where you can create it in the app itself. And just, if you don't have access to a video editor, or you don't have a fancy video editor or anything like that, you literally can just record it, stop and start in the app, and then edit it in the app.
Okay.
But once you get the hang of things, it is a bit it is a bit easier to just record little snippets on your phone directly.
Got it.
And then download it like a free video editor on the like App Store, and then just piece it together and edit it there, and then add the music in the TikTok app afterwards.
Phil, you're running 3 stores. You've got an e-commerce store. You're moving into a warehouse. I saw on your TikTok or maybe your Insta only yesterday where you said that all rooms in your home are full. All rooms in your mum and dad's home are full. Garages are full. The warehouse is it couldn't come quick enough. You're running 3 bakeries. I don't know what else you do during your day, but I'm guessing you're busy with 30 staff. Tell us how you integrate TikTok and even bigger, how do you integrate social media into your daily routine without it becoming obsessive and in the way?
Yeah. I think this is something that a lot of business owners struggle with. Like, how do I do accounting, social media? How do I do the marketing and run a business? I think that's like the hardest part about running a business, is juggling all these balls in your hand. So I think the easiest way is to make it as easy as possible. So for me, it's literally just recording little snippets and then setting time aside and just do all the editing in one day.
Yes.
So
Okay.
if I'm going to pack customer orders, I'll do it one morning. Can't do it every morning because it'll just be too tiresome to set up and, set up the camera and tripod and then just do that whole process over and over again. So I try to batch it together. Usually I try to work 2 weeks in advance.
Wow.
Yeah, so I wouldn't do more than 2 weeks in advance because I think TikTok is such a fast-moving app. So, the relevancy and the topics that I talk about might not be as relevant when we answer specific questions or talk about some certain topics. So, But yeah, I think batching it and doing it in batches is the best way to go if you're trying to juggle all these things together.
So I have some kind of plan, and that feeds into my whole wish for all small business owners, which is to make marketing a hobby. And I talk about this a lot from stage, is that when something's a hobby, it becomes fun. You find time for it. You put it in your diary. You'll find the resources, the money, and it just becomes fun. And marketing is fun. You talk about accounting and legals and HR and, your real estate issues and all that stuff. It's not that fun.
Yeah.
Whereas marketing is this opportunity for you, the business owner, and I'm sort of saying this, this, but I'm sort of talking to the wider audience, which is, as a business owner, putting yourself out there, getting your business noticed, it's your baby at the end of the day. You want people to see, when someone has my niece had a baby yesterday, there's photos everywhere, and it's a bit like with a business owner, your business is your baby and you want to show it everywhere. So I think that's kind of a mindset shift, if you like, to make it.
Out of everything I do in the business, marketing is the most fun part. And that's why I enjoy it so much because I get to be creative and get to talk about my business. I'm sure my friends are sick of me talking about my business. So, if strangers want to listen to it, then let's talk about it. I can talk for hours if you want me to.
Yeah, well, hey, don't careful what you wish for. and that's absolutely music to my ears. I want to explore that a little bit more. But first, tell us, how do you quantify all this work that you're doing on TikTok, all these millions of views, all these hundreds of thousands of likes, all this video that you're uploading and editing and doing? How do you quantify TikTok's impact on sales at Goldilocks?
That's such a great question because I think, like you said, you want to make sure all the effort you're putting in is worth it at the end of the day. So for me, I do try to quantify and track as much as I can. So what we do is we definitely have a link in our bio where people click through and we can see how many clicks we're getting from TikTok, how many clicks we're getting from Instagram and from other pages as well, other websites as well. And so we can see, okay, from those clicks, how many of them ended up being a sale. So that's all through Google Analytics, which is 100% free. So you actually don't even have to pay for that. So it does require a bit of setup, but after you set it up, it's free information about your business.
And is TikTok by far and away the social media platform where you're getting the most clicks from your bio?
Yep. So from TikTok alone last year, I think we got almost 300,000 clicks through, which if you had to quantify that, like in ads, I think they can cost 10 cents or 15 cents. So if you work at the numbers, I can't work at the numbers now, but it's a lot of free marketing.
Couple of math savants on the end of the phone. We're going beautifully, aren't we? Is it 300,000 times 0.15? I don't know. 45
That's
grand?
Right, yeah. So I think, just quantifying, seeing those numbers in analytics, you're able to quantify it. And then,
So the clicks, those 300,000 clicks, Phil, they're not all sales. So can you then go from those clicks, these people bought? You can do that.
yes, you can see how many of them made a purchase in that same viewing session. So sometimes you can't actually on Google Analytics you can't track if they came back later, because I think the way they attribute the sale is by last click. So if TikTok was the last thing they clicked through and made a sale, that's how they attribute the sales. So
I see.
For us, we can see how many of them clicked through TikTok and then made a sale straight away or made a purchase straight away.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Are you sharing, because with TikTok you can share to Insta. Do you just do that automatically, or do you actually create different content for different platforms?
Look, it will be impossible to create a video for Reels and YouTube Shorts and Facebook. So we do create one video and we try to repurpose it to as many platforms as we can. So when we create usually we do create for TikTok first, because that's our biggest social media platform at the moment. So we create that and then we post it to Reels, we do YouTube Shorts as well. So try to repurpose that content as much as we can.
Yeah, it's Insta Reels, Phil.
No, it's Reels, Tim.
No. I'm just going to Wikipedia and just checking that out. Tell me, you talk about not selling. You don't, it's not overtly selling on anything you put on TikTok. Do you have a call to action? Do you make an effort to make sure there is always Goldilocks branding in every video, or is that just being too neutral?
I wouldn't say at the end of the video, go and buy it. I would subtly hint it. Like, I'll just be like, this is our new product today. I'm so excited that it's launching today. But very subtle to the point where it doesn't come off as selling. When we do record the video, I do try to put brand placements as much as I can. So either including the Goldilocks box so that they can see, okay, these are the brand colors. We try to go back to the same sort of music when we create the packing video so that people, when they scroll through the feed, they know exactly, what to expect in this video, and or that if they're familiar with it.
Your call to action could be, and feel free to use this, I'll send you an invoice later, but it could be something like, don't Waste Another Second. Get your
that's a great
now.
one.
Yeah, thank you very much.
But the dad jokes are coming out, Tim.
Thank you, Phil.
It's only been
a
couple minutes and you're already coming with the dad jokes.
No, we're well and truly almost at the end of the interview, Phil, so I had to get one out. Tell me, awesome. I think you've covered TikTok very, very, a lot clearer. I am a lot clearer. I feel like I've just lost 10 years. I'm 10 years younger because I know something that other 54-year-old males don't. I've won. Thank you. Talk about marketing. You do. I think this is why I love having you on the show, Phil, and I just love your whole approach. Just talk to us about marketing. Why you find it important, you love it, like it's a major part of what you do, how you've grown the Goldilocks business. What do you say to other business owners who don't have that, that passion, that drive to embrace such an important skill? Yeah.
Okay, the first thing I will say is I like to use a lot of pop culture references because I love pop culture. But you
used to blog on K-pop when you were a young bloke. I saw that, mate. Hey, you started at an early age.
Yeah. But just like a pop star, you have to reinvent yourself, especially when there are new platforms coming out and there are new ways to market your product and your services. Because your audience are moving as well. So you have to reinvent the way you approach things. So you can't do one marketing and do that for every year for 10 years. Marketing changes so quick, especially in this day and age. The second thing I'll say is I think I would really encourage business owners to become their own influencers. I think especially during COVID, people understand how much small businesses especially have been impacted by COVID. So they want to support local businesses. So, the best influencer for your brand is yourself because you're the most person who's passionate about the brand. And the product's the best and service is the best. And so, and I think, having yourself as the influencer for your brand is the most powerful tool that you can have because people get to know the brand. People get to know who you are, what the brand stands for, and, they know exactly where they're buying for and who they're supporting.
Yeah, I fully concur with that. I think that's a great mind. It's all about mindset. And having that mindset shift is so important. I forgot to make comment, Phil, just going back to TikTok, that you have been approached by TikTok in Australia and you now, do webinars for them or speak at events or what?
Yeah, we do work very closely with TikTok. The other day we did a seminar with McDonald's. Can you believe it?
What?
Yep. Me being...
Little Phil from Goldilocks Bakery out in the burbs.
Me from the suburbs doing a seminar with McDonald's.
That is awesome.
Yeah, which is incredible. We're collaborating with them on they doing some loyalty program in the app. So we're one of the few brands that have been selected to participate in that. So that's going to be massive for us as well. So
Hang on, just to understand that, McDonald's are doing a loyalty program inside their app.
oh, sorry, I meant TikTok. Sorry,
Oh, TikTok are. Okay, gotcha. And you are going to be on that app.
front and center. Yeah, it'll be the first thing you see when you open the app. So like that kind of placement you can't pay for.
You cannot buy that. I'm going to get you back in 2 years' time, young Phillip Ku. Where do you hope the Goldilocks business is?
Yeah.
What are we going to be talking about?
So our mission is to help people send unforgettable gifts. Because you're not abroad, but you're in a different state. I did bring a gift for Romy. So she actually has one of our gift boxes that's not launched yet. So it's our new gift hampers.
Wow.
I don't know if I should spoil it though.
No.
Should I just,
no,
I'll
tell
just
us.
tell
Yeah,
you.
because
I'll just tell you.
Respect the listener, Phil.
Yeah. So last year, we launched a product called the Cake Explosion Box with flying butterflies. So
I saw that. When you open it up and all these fake butterflies come out.
That's right. So that product was such a hit for us. And it went completely viral for us. And that became what people associated us with. So we kind of built onto that. So the next product we just launched this month for Valentine's Day was a confetti box. So you open it up, there'll be like a cake or a cookie inside, and then confetti will pop up. So the one I gave to Romy was our new gift hampers, which are coming out very soon as well. So inside the gift hamper, there are multiple goodies inside, and then when you open it, all these confetti flies out, which is so fun. Yeah.
So fun until you have to clean it up.
That's right.
Tell me, so back. That's very kind, and Romy, please enjoy that on my behalf. I'm glad it's not me. It's probably full of calories and stuff. But tell me, so 2 years' time, Phil, where's Goldilocks at? Is it okay? Put words into your mouth. Are the 3 bricks and mortar stores closed, and you are running an e-commerce business from a bigger warehouse closer to the airport, or I don't know?
Yeah. So we are starting to wind down some of the retail stores because I do want to focus on e-commerce because there's no way I could do both. Retail and e-commerce are completely different channels. So I do want to wind down the retail stores that can focus just on e-commerce. Something that was amazing that came out of TikTok was that my only objective when I started TikTok was to market the brand outside of Melbourne because we started national delivery, but we didn't have that brand awareness outside of Melbourne. But something that good came out was that we have a whole bunch of international fans who want to support and buy from us. So my goal is to find a way to service those customers and service those fans. So that's something that's on my agenda. We're also launching our own chocolate brand in the next few months as well, which is really exciting.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I told you that we're moving to a Melbourne warehouse in the next week or so. We purchased that, which is a massive business achievement for us. And we're already looking into expanding to a local warehouse in Sydney. So that would open up a lot of doors for us. But the end goal is to have a distribution centre everywhere in Australia so that we can send amazing, unforgettable gifts with same-day delivery.
What a fantastic story, Phil. Well done, buddy.
Oh, thank you.
You just should be just mighty, mighty proud of yourself. And I hope you find time to celebrate the wins with yourself, your partner, your family, and your staff. And, because we should, and you should, because there's lots of wins to celebrate.
That's right. Yeah, thank you, Tim. And like I said this on the last time I was here as well, but your podcast has helped me and a lot of other small businesses do big marketing. So thank you to you as well.
Oh, my pleasure. That's why I do what I do. Goldilocks, GOLDELUCKS.com.au is where you can go and order some donuts of all shapes and sizes. Phillip Ku, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Thank you, Tim.
Well, there you go, team. Donut aficionado Phillip Ku of Goldilocks Bakery, who's kindly provided you a $5 discount off your first order if you use the discount code TIMBO at checkout. Uppercase or lowercase, I am told. You'll find links to all the resources we mentioned, including my book over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/587. There's so much to like and learn from the way Phil goes about building that business. So much. His love and respect for the power of marketing is just awesome, as is most guests share that, I guess, that come on this show. Phil's philosophy around not overthinking ideas, get them to market and let your tribe report back. Love it. His move from bricks and mortar to e-com, I wonder why don't more food businesses do that? It seems pretty obvious and maybe not that hard. something to think about, even if you're not in the food business. And I love the idea of us business owners becoming our own influencers through creating great content, and Phil's a great example of that. What grabbed your attention? Call the Small Business Big Marketing hotline on 0480 015 150 and let me know, just like listener physiotherapist Catherine did.
Hi, Timbo. It's Catherine here. I'm a physiotherapist and mum of 3, and I've got the Fitness Mama podcast, and my business is helping women exercise safely and care for their bodies during pregnancy and after birth recovery. I just wanted to say thank you so much for the podcast. I think every week there's some amazing episodes, and you've really encouraged me to get out of my comfort zone, get my message out there to really help women during their pregnancy and motherhood journey, and to tell my story too. So I just wanted to send my thanks, and I look forward to 2022 and what more is in store. So my website is fitnessmama.com. That's FITNESTMAMA.com. Thanks once again, Timbo. I really do appreciate it. Bye.
Hey, thank you so much, Catherine, for taking the time to give us a buzz and let us know where you're at. Checked your website out. Great website. And I love how, as a physio, you've added an additional revenue stream via your online courses and podcast. Well done to you. Everyone else wondering how you can add an additional revenue stream, maybe through online courses, have a listen to my Tina Tower interview of a few weeks ago. She runs the $1 Million Micro Business, and that will be a bit of an eye and ear opener. Tina Tower. And thanks again, Catherine. 0480 015 150 is where you can call me. If you enjoyed today's ep, be sure to hit the subscribe button and leave a review on your favourite podcast app, where you'll find 586 more chats with successful business founders. If you're ready to create some helpful marketing, grab a copy of my book, The Boomerang Effect, over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. And as has been the case for the past 12 years, it's been me, Timbo Reid, ruthlessly interrogating successful business owners from around the world. Rockstar Lockie Doley making me sound infinitely more professional than I really am, along with producer Romy Sher. Thanks for tuning in. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.